He explained yesterday, Maharal on Reish Mem Hey, what's a kinyan? He says a house, a location, which totally accommodates all the needs of a person. That's a kinyan. Meaning, it's necessary for your function. But something which is only an accommodation, which is not necessary, that's not called kinyan. Of course, you have a kinyan, but in terms we speak about a person owns something, which we're speaking about, it's a necessity because it relates to every aspect of his function. The 5 things we mentioned, each one accommodates God, the godliness of Hashem. What's Torah? All the decrees, all the laws which have relevance to Klal Yisrael in terms of how they have to conduct themselves. That's the Torah. Shemayim v'oretz heimu olam. That's the world. The world is necessary for what? That's what God's that's the playing field. The playing field is existence. Nikra shmo yisborach aleim. Every aspect of existence, what's its value? Its need, its purpose is to say one thing. Who's the master? Avram haru nikro shmo olav. Avagash kol Avos shmo nikra aleim. It says Avram is the kinyan. Lo meleki Avram meleki Yitzchak Yaakov reik b'Avram poschin v'chosmin. So we left off. Avram, we begin with him, and v'chosmin. Mogen Avram lo kein sheir ovishri omru b'chol chosmin lo behem. But he's not explaining it. So I think it means, if not for Avram, God's God's presence, existence wouldn't be known. No, they were the follow-up, so to say. Even though the other ones were necessary, but they weren't as necessary. If Avram wouldn't have introduced it, I mean, they maintained it. And maybe, you had other people. You had Shem Ve'aver, you had others. Not that it would have lasted. It wouldn't have lasted. Yisrael nikru shmo aleim, okay? Yeah, but he didn't affect the world. I mean, Melchizedek didn't. Melchizedek preceded Avram Avinu, correct? And yet the world was still a pagan world. The one who broke through and introduced monotheism at the level that he did, that was Avram Avinu. As it says, Elokei ha'aretz, Elokei Shamayim. Before Avram came was Elokei Shamayim. God's relevance was only to heaven. Who made him to Elokei ha'aretz? Avram Avinu, by introducing and refuting all aspects of paganism. It's the kinyan. No, that's why Avram is the kinyan. Avram is the kinyan because he is essential for God's presence in Shamayim v'Oretz. Why is Hashem Elokei Shamayim v'Elokei Oretz? Because Avram Avinu. Otherwise, nobody would even know it.
So why didn't that happen after Noah? Noah was the only.
They failed because they failed.
After the model, Noah is, a handful of people. He has a direct relationship with God. Why did monotheism kick in then?
Look, Noah was a monotheist. Seemingly, even Chum was a Russia. Immediately after the Mabul, he was also monotheist. He believed after seeing what he saw. But things very soon they begin evaporating. Chum was a Russia afterwards. I mean, he became. I mean, in the Teva, in the Ark, he was a Russia already, right? He cohabited in the Ark, which he wasn't permitted to.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just saying their children already were pagans. It was Aver. Aver was the son of Shem.
It's just surprising because it was 100% of humanity believed in one God, and then it just went away.
Yep. Doesn't take much. Less. Yisrael nikra shmo aleim no Elokei Yisrael. Hamalochim kodesh nivru hoyomrim Baruch Hashem Elokei Yisrael. Hareki Shem Elokusa Nikra Aleim Vein Laharech Bezer Beis Hamikdash Shmo Nikra Olav Shmo Nikra Ala Beis Hamikdash Dichsid Ki Shimcha Nikra Ala Bayis Hazeh Re'elu Hei Dvorim Koshu Yisborach Elokei Olam Mishamshim Elu Dvorim Lekach Nikru. What is the function? The function of the five things mentioned, each one is to facilitate God's existence. Chem b'sifri, meaning that each one is a necessity. Its totality is for that. And without it, it can't be. B'chem b'sifri halo avicho kanecho. Oma Moshe lishro chaviv me'atem. Moshe says to Klaus before he passes away, you're beloved to him. Kinyan atem. You're his acquisition. V'atem Yerusha. Ze'echod me'ashosh nikru kinyan l'mokom. Okay. One said, we find that Moshe Rabbeinu, he was mispalel, v'niflinu ani v'amcho, niflinu, meaning he asked Hashem originally. Hashem wanted to have a relationship with all the nations. Hashem says no. Moshe says only with us, not with them. Not with the nations of the world. Only Klal Yisrael to have that intimate relationship. This was after the Chet Egel. After Chet Egel, when it was an Eis Rotzon, he says v'niflinu ani v'amcho. Why? I mean, what? God's is not big enough to go around for all the nations. Why should? If Hashem says, "I want to be also the God of the nations," He says, "In the fleeing, separate yourself. You should only be for us, exclusively us, not them." So what I said was that what Moshe Rabbeinu did, he locked Hashem into a situation where, despite the degree that we fail, He can never destroy us. If there's no alternative, okay, so if we fail bad enough, God says, you know something, it's over. The relationship is terminated. There's a replacement. But Moshe's tefillah, there can't be a replacement. You're out. We're exclusively, it's us, nobody else. This is not a franchise. You know, we have it, and then you pass it on to somebody else. It doesn't work that way. It's us. Because ultimately, Moshe Rabbeinu knew that we would fail, we would sin. So how do you guarantee that the rachmim should always be in place? This is how you guarantee it. Because Hashem needs us. Because without us, there is no world. So we are when we speak kinyan, we are the only kinyan. There's no alternative to what we are. And He's Elokei Yisrael. It's not Elokei Yisrael now, He's Elokei Yisrael on a permanent level. He's not Elokei anyone other than Elokei Yisrael. Be continued.
Why couldn't he be Elokei the world?
No, but I'm explaining to you. If we be the others, it guarantees our eternity. Otherwise, there's a question. If we fail extremely enough, we're out the door. Right. Why are we out the door? God created a world that He should have a relationship with the people. So if there's no alternative people, so therefore God has to make it work. The midas harachim has to increase and give us endless chances. I mean, you'll have casualties, you'll have suffering, but we're not going to be annihilated. There'll always be a remnant to rejuvenate it. There has to be, because Moshe Rabbeinu says, "You're only we, not the nations of the world." Exactly, but they can't. That's exactly, they can't. Therefore, God can't destroy us. He's not able to destroy us for that reason. If the world can't continue without the Jewish people, right? But that was His request from the Flinu. Be our God, not their God. We're your only representative. You have no other representative. No one else is qualified to be a representative in this existence. No, not His suggest. That was Moshe's request. He agreed. But that was amazing. Why did Moshe request such a thing? It's selfishness. It's not selfishness. It's protection, exactly.
Not just protecting Jewish people from holding out resistance.
No, that's for Hashem's glory. Ultimately, that is for Hashem's glory, because Hashem's only true glory could only come about through the Jews. You know, there was my Rosh Zefaniah Baruch once told me, there was a story came up. Story goes back maybe about 38 years ago. And there was today, the relative, he's a Rav in Atlanta, Georgia, today, very successful. And his wife had a cousin who adopted a child. And most adopted children are not Jewish when you adopt. And so they had the conversion when the baby was young. So the halacha is when the child reaches a certain age, you're supposed to tell them that initially they weren't Jewish, and they have a choice to either to continue to be Jewish or to reject it. Yeah. Because the whole idea is Zochalod Mishlob Fun. It's tomorrow. So when the child becomes a bar mitzvah, so to say, you're supposed to tell the child you're not Jewish. And now you have a choice. If you want to remain a Jew, then the conversion is in place. But if the child says, I'm not interested, then he remains a goy. Because the whole idea, if I buy you a gift, and later you say to me, and the gift is something beneficial to me, but I say, I'm not interested. So initially, the presumption is, I'm interested, so therefore you're my representative. But let's say I tell you afterwards, I'm not interested. So retroactively, it's revealed that you're not my representative. You're only representative if it's in my best interest. If I tell you it's not my best interest, it's nothing. So therefore, the Gemara says when the child reaches 13 or a girl 12, you're supposed to inform them and you give them this choice, and they accept or they reject. That's the Gemara. So they were concerned, this couple was a conservative couple. They didn't raise their child with real Jewish values and observance. So the child was already 16 years old, their son, and they were afraid if they give him the choice, the guy says, you know something, I'm out of here. So they're worried. I mean, here they have a child, raise him as their type of Jew, and now they're worried the child is going to, says, look, I'm not Jewish, goodbye. So, no, wait, so that was the question. Do you tell them? Don't you tell them? So they asked my Rosh Hashiva. I asked my Rosh Hashiva. So Rosh Hashiva, what he said was that today, the Gemara speaks about the age of 12, 13, because then a child was mature enough to make that kind of decision. But today, children, even at the age of 16, 17, they're still immature. See, he said wait till he's old enough of marriageable age, he's dating to get married, so he's taking life more seriously. Then he won't just give an answer, off-the-cuff answer, and then he should be posed with that question. Does he want to be a Jew, not a Jew? That's what my Rosh Hashiva said. That's what he said regarding that case. But my Rosh Hashiva told me at that time, he said, this has to do with this, Beniflino, he said to me, there's a famous word from Yisrael Salant. Many of these things are not recorded. But in Europe, everything was, said over. Because because the Dalt of Slobodka was a Talmud of Yisrael Salanter. So he said, Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, he told me this then, within the context of this conversation, he says, Besser zu brennen wie a Yidin Gehenim, wie zu sein a Goy. Better to burn as a Jew in hell than to be a Goy. Because ultimately you come out of hell. As much as you suffer. The Goy, he remains the Goy forever. So that's what Rabbi Yisrael said. So he says, even though, so of course I asked him, but even if he remains, he says he wants to be a Jew. What kind of Jew is he? He's a conservative Jew. He's not living as a Jew. That was my question. That was his response. Let's say he says he wants to continue. If I said, so what? And if he'll be a Goy, what's so terrible? Let him say he doesn't want to be Jewish. Now he's culpable. Now being a Jew and he doesn't observe the Shabbos, he has liability. If he rejects it, he has no liability. So why? What? So that's what he said to me. That it's better to be a Jew and burn in hell than to be a Goy. That was his answer. You're still part of the club. No, which means to wait. The question was, so we'll say he wants out. Let him be out. Finished.
But I'm saying if he's always better off being a Jew, even if he's not a very good Jew, then...
No, but if he says, I'm not interested, he's not interested. He still says, I'm not interested. He has a right to reject it. But the question is, if he says it, we're concerned he may say no, because he's too immature. So let him say no. Right? His rejection is a valid rejection. No, that's something else. That's different, because there he has a chiv to do that. Kofin to put on tefillin, or he is obligated to do it. Here, he has no obligation to be a Jew. Okay? Let's see the...